All right, time for another podcast. Powerful opening intro there, I would say. Thought-provoking and to the point. So I'm dealing with... I tried taking a generalized anxiety disorder test to see if I qualify. An online test. And, who knows how accurate these things are. And usually, it seems like the test is more of an excuse to, a funnel of some kind to lead to some kind of sale. But I scored an 88%. I mean, I should have studied a little harder, I guess. So I think, 1% is Matthew McConaughey and 100% is Woody Allen on a bad day in terms of anxiety. So 88% is, Albert Brooks at the midpoint of an Albert Brooks movie, I guess. And as a result, I'm trying to figure out how to... Here's what I discovered. It's asking me questions that are saying, one question, for instance, is, are you, have you been anxious on a frequent basis in the last 3 months? And my response was not only yes, it was, well, of course. Yeah, that's my resting emotional state, is worrying. And I think it's gotten to the point where I don't even notice that I'm worried. Which I think, the good news on that is that in a way, it is a form of relaxation. It's not relaxation, but it's to the point where, I'm just kind of rolling with it. I'm starting to panic and going, that's right on schedule. And then we proceed with that, and then we move forward. But one thought that occurred to me is that the root of worrying, I'm wondering if the root of worrying is that I'm not in the moment. That if I'm worrying, it's usually about the future or a consequence of something that happened in the past. And so I am not, as a result, being totally 100% present. So my goal, at least with this podcast, for I don't know how many more episodes, but for the moment, there we go, is to only talk about what's happening in front of my face as I'm commuting to work in the moment, and to just kind of go from there and to be present and to see what that does. Like, for instance, I'm looking at a sign that says Cedars Sinai Care now in the Valley. And my urologist is in the Cedars Sinai in Beverly Hills. So I see this, and my first thought is it would be great if he was in the valley now. I don't think he is. I don't think it works that way. And I guess Cedars Sinai is a brand. That's sort of the way they're advertising it. The Cedars Sinai brand. When I think health, I think Cedars Sinai. And now they are in the valley. But the thing is, what's confusing about that to me is I can only go in places that take the health insurance I have. So if they don't take the health insurance, that doesn't... Well, actually, if I have a cheap form of health insurance, I have to go where they tell me to go. If I have the expensive plan, then I can go where I choose to go. So this is an advertisement for rich people. The advertisement may as well read, are you... do you have more money than God? Guess what? Now you don't have to drive as far to get the Botox. Cedars Sinai in the Valley. I think the Valley, there was a connotation of lesser than in Los Angeles for a long time. Oh, he's in the Valley. Ugh. Oh, you're living in the Valley. Oh, I see. You know, and the 323 phone number versus the 818 phone number was a big thing. You didn't want the agent with the 818 phone number. They were in a basement somewhere in the Valley. You wanted the 323 phone number agent. And I think as gentrification has consumed that which is 323, and now the Valley is gentrifying, I think the Valley is not so lesser than, which seems to be the common running theme. A place gets too expensive, so the places around it it pushes out the middle class, so they go to the places around it, so the places around it start to get gentrified, and then the poor are pushed, I don't know, into the middle and in the in-between and through the cracks, until the entire society sinks into the ocean, like what's happening apparently in Indonesia with, I think it's in Jakarta. They have to move the capital because their capital is sinking into the ocean. They're moving the capital to an island, which, at the rate global warming is going and the ocean waters are rising, it's like, well, let's go to the place that'll only be partially flooded. If they want to be, I don't know, they may have to move to the Himalayas if they really want to avoid having to redo this every 10 years. Of course, by then, there won't be a planet at all. And the population of Earth will be dead. And this is turning into a phone conversation with my mother, which is how it always goes. Eventually, every conversation I have with my mother, we get to the discussion of human extinction. And depending on her mood, sometimes it takes a full half hour before we get there, before we get to how, her latest theory on how we're all going to die out. Sometimes it's 10 minutes in. It's, sometimes it's the cold open. So, all right, what's happening in the moment? Because I started to drift. Now, here's the question, the rule of me being in the moment here. If a thought pops into my head, is that, and I kind of go with that thought, am I being in the moment or am I drifting? I need to focus the rules here. And I feel like the rule should be, that should not be allowed. A thought should not be allowed. It needs to be literally what is happening, what am I seeing, what am I feeling in the moment, as opposed to what I am thinking. I may edit that later, but for now, let's go with that. Jeep. So this does remind me of a joke I was working on, but because I saw the Jeep, I will allow this thought to pass. They call it the Jeep Wrangler, which seems like a negative name for a car, because wrangling is never, it always seems associated with hard, laborious, dangerous work. You wrangle bears or lions. Or if it's even, I'm an elementary school teacher and all it is every day is wrangling the children. It seems like a negative. Jeep Wrangler. Because you may not come back from this one, but your Jeep will. I don't know, there's something negative about it. Explorer, that makes sense. There's something more positive about that. We're exploring, a whole new realm. Or in the case of most people who drive a Ford Explorer, you're exploring a whole new Applebee's. Is that too harsh for the people who drive Ford Explorers? so... Lily's Foot Spa. Never noticed that store before. Lily's Foot Spa. I'm going to take a wild guess and say that it's a place where you go to get a foot massage. I would think. Only for feet, though, I guess. Man, I get, a lot of credit to people who do foot massaging. A lot of credit to those people. I think, too germophobic to be that close to feet. I don't know. Feet give me the EBGBs. My own feet freak me out, let alone the feet of other people. That's a tough one right there. I don't know if I could handle that. Feet, hands, I don't know where they've been. I think the only part of the body I feel comfortable with, the clavicle. I can handle a clavicle. I can massage a clavicle. That's okay. Not near anything that might get me sued. Not near anything excessively, dirty or laced with germs. I'm good with the clavicle. That's about it. I can give a good clavicle. I give great clavicle rubs. I'm well known. Maybe I'll open a clavicle spa. Wonder how the GoFundMe would do on that campaign. Travel agency. Passed by a travel agency. Travel agencies. That's what everyone's telling me I should do. Go on a vacation, Josh. You should travel. You should go travel. You need a vacation, Josh. You need to go travel. I just see that as paying a lot of money to worry a lot in a different climate. But it opens your mind to new possibilities. Yeah, I'm done with the possibilities. I want fewer possibilities, frankly. It just seems to me that every 9 out of 10 possibilities leads to death. And maybe I'm overreacting. I'm seeing what appears to be a not a tour bus, but I think it's one of those vehicles that is designed to handle people with wheelchairs. So it's like a specialty van with a lift. Seem like big cars. Well, they are big cars. And tough to drive. Especially, I would think, in Hollywood, where some of those streets... I don't know, when they were making the neighborhoods in Hollywood, did they know that cars were a thing yet? That's what I love about the design of the Los Angeles city system overall. It's like they just had no idea this city was going to be a success. No one's going to come here. We only need a 1-lane highway. I mean, that really seemed to have taken them by surprise. All right, well, that's the end of that. Hopefully you found this stimulating. I'm a villain at this point, suddenly. I'm suddenly a Bond villain. There you go.